Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/citizenho. Over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Hello there.
Hola.
And welcome to a very long overdue episode of Citizen Ho.
Yeah, so they
this
say.
This might be the longest we've gone since Max was born.
Maybe. Or since the last time we went a long time since Max was born.
So the moral of the story is it's all your son's fault why we don't record.
Yeah, maybe.
So, as usual, I'm Scott, and here is the Garth to my Wayne, the Robin to my Batman, the Butthead to my Beavis. Kevin.
Yeah, sadly, that kind of makes sense.
It just reminded me of... I said this the other day to somebody. There's a scene in Scrubs where Turk goes... Turk goes to JD. We were together so often at college, people thought my last name was NJD. Dude, that's how you hooked up with that Indian girl. It was very good.
That's terrible.
So people think my last name is N. Kevin.
Maybe. Or maybe people think my last name is N. Scott.
No, because it's always Scott and Kevin. It's not Kevin and Scott.
How do you know?
Because I know. You ever notice, so this is something interesting that Marissa and I have discussed. Whenever you refer to a couple, the name first is always the way you're associated. Though, like, you guys probably always refer to us as Scott and Marissa, not Marissa and Scott.
Yeah, generally.
Yeah. With you, I go back and forth because I had connections to both of you, but, like, some of our other friends, it's Sari and Matt, but it's Mike and Danny, or...
Yeah, well, Sari and Matt and Mike and Danny, we knew Sari first, we knew Mike first.
Yeah, it's not like the man, but when we write something else, like Mr. and Mrs. Kevin Kane, you know... I'm just saying, like, it's just the relation is always the first name you do. I don't know why that is. Probably just because you're used to saying them.
I'd say just out of habit.
Yeah. So, what's been going on in the last month of your life? Because we haven't spoken at all every day while I've been pretending to work at my new job.
You're just pretending to work there?
Well, actually, today I have to say was the first day where it was actually kind of busy.
Oh, you actually have shit to do.
Well, like the first couple of weeks, they had this big board meeting, like about a month after I started, so they're prepping for that. And my boss kept apologizing, like, I haven't given you the time you need, I haven't given you the time I need. So the last 2 weeks, we've had a couple of hour meetings. Today, I started working on putting together a test server. And then what they've been doing with me is they've been giving me a lot of, like, any bugs that come in to try to fix, or anything that breaks. Usually they take me 30 seconds. Today, it actually took me, like, 2 or 3 hours, and we figured it out on an accident.
Okay, then.
Well, this is kind of funny. So, in the development language we use, there's a part of it where you can create procedural calls within the page, and that does validation. When you do an application level procedural call, it doesn't do a validation. So I'm looking at it, and I made a comment. I'm like, "Wow, there's 37 arguments to this procedure. That's a lot." It's like, that is a lot. Then it's like, my coworker was looking at it also. I was like, wait, I have 41. I'm like, wait, no, I have 37. We looked at it. It's like, he was looking at the definition. I was looking at the call. They forgot to include, he had 40. They forgot to include 3 arguments, and that's why it was failing. So that's how we figured it out.
Ah, fair enough.
And the reason I grabbed him is I was just a little... I was a little confused by the way it was run, and he looked at it with me, and he was confused too. Like, there's a programming philosophy called KISS. Do you know what that stands for?
Keep it simple, stupid?
Exactly, and I'm a big proponent of that. Like, I think keeping things simple and easy to use so I don't have to run all over the place, as well as make it supportable. And the code that was written here was not written well, nor is it supportable.
Yeah. So.
Well, the guy who wrote it's British, so...
Yeah, so?
I don't know. They have like a queen. What do they know?
So? We have Donald Trump as president.
Maybe not for long.
We'll see.
You know what I'm starting to think is, I don't think Russia is going to take him down. I think all the shit he's trying to do to get rid of Russia is what's going to take him down.
Maybe.
Like, I don't know if there really was collusion or not, but I think they're trying to cover up what wasn't collusion, and because Watergate isn't what took Nixon down. It was the cover-up of Watergate that is what took Nixon down.
Essentially, I mean, what took Nixon down was that he tried to
protect people.
Well, he was trying to protect people, but ultimately the order for that break-in ultimately came from his office.
I thought he didn't know about it till after the fact, but he knew about it and kept his mouth shut. I don't know. I haven't looked at it in a while. I have to watch All the President's Men again.
Yeah. I think I saw that was
Good
on
movie.
HBO On Demand today.
Speaking of On Demand, I went to... Sometimes, like, when I turn my TV on, the cable box isn't always on. Instead of hitting power, they say hit menu. So sometimes I'll just hit the power button and then hit menu just by default. When I did that, I noticed there was a Netflix option in my cable box. I can now get Netflix right through my cable box.
Okay. That's new.
Yeah, but... Okay. This just goes back to the whole, like... Well, I should turn the TV off when we're recording. I had it on because I was waiting for you. This goes back to the whole... What we're talking about with, like, the whole net neutrality thing. Well, let's start... There's been a lot going on in the last month, so we'll try to cover as much as we can. Just keep in mind, neither Kevin nor I are political or legal experts, but we pretend to be.
We do?
And the views presented here are, in fact, the opinions of the Citizen Ho podcast. If you don't like it, go listen on Adam Carolla.
Sure.
Or Chris Hardwick, or Kevin Smith, or
whoever. Any of the other number of podcasts that have way larger audiences than we do.
Okay. So, you want to start with net neutrality? Sound like a good starting point?
Sure.
Okay. So, there's a conservative view that the government overregulates, which typically happens when a liberal party is in power. So we had a Democratic president previously, and they felt they overregulated. Now that we have a Republican president, they're trying to deregulate. One of the things that got regulated during the Obama administration was the internet. And this thing called net neutrality, which a lot of people I don't think really understand what it is, so I'm going to do my best to explain it. Net neutrality avoids the carriers from nickel and diming you for your internet on both the consumption as well as the provision. So, for example...
okay, time out. No. Net neutrality says that a internet provider has to treat all data that it's sending, essentially... It has to treat has to treat all data equally. So they can't basically show preference for traffic going to Facebook or to LinkedIn versus like some other site.
Correct. Henceforth, it protects both the consumer as well as the provider. Not the internet provider, the content provider. Sorry, that's what I meant. The content provider. So there's two arguments on repealing it. It's deregulating the internet, which in a way it can be anti-consumer and pro-consumer at the same time. The way it can be pro-consumer is, I'm this little old lady in Wichita, Kansas, and all I want to do is go on Facebook to see pictures of my grandkids in Cleveland, Ohio. So I pay $5 a month for internet access just for Facebook. On the other hand it's like your cable package. If I pay this much, I get these 7 channels. If I pay this much, I get these 40 channels. If I pay this much, I get 3,000 channels, 18 of which I actually want. And then there's also the Google could pay the provider saying, Google's free no matter what, we're going to pay you to do it. And that's what's bad about net neutrality. So there are some advantages to it, but in the long run, the bulk of people want open access to the internet without any limitations. Here's a really good example of where it could hurt consumers. Hulu is owned majority by NBC, whose parent company is Comcast. They have a 30% share in Hulu. So what's to stop? Comcast is also the largest cable provider in the country. I think it still is, right?
I believe so.
If not, it's one of them. Top 5, maybe even top 2 or 3. So what's to stop Comcast from giving preference to Hulu traffic versus Netflix? To say like, hey, Netflix is an inferior service. Let me use Hulu.
Yeah.
On a side note, I just did a free month of Hulu. I think Netflix has a better interface, But I just watched the show Future Man, which is fucking hilarious. I seriously recommend it. It's kind of a combination of... Best way to describe it is Seth MacFarlane meets The Last Starfighter type thing. So it's a little like Armada, where they play a video game gets this guy thing, and then there's time travel, and they like rip off a lot of famous scenes from other movies and stuff like that. So it's pretty funny.
Okay, then moving on. Moving back to net neutrality. There's another hypothetical. Let's say that some independent company decides that they're going to create their own essentially competitor to YouTube, but Google is paying the ISPs to basically fast track traffic to YouTube. This YouTube competitor basically or they have a much tougher time competing and gaining users because people are going to see it as an inferior service because their connection to it's going to be slower.
Which could derail the entire startup neutrality, which is startups are probably really what's shaping our economy right now.
Yes, precisely. However, I do think there is there is some value to allowing people to have, like, let's say the dirt cheap internet package that just gives them access to like Facebook or whatever. And I don't see why they couldn't offer that.
Because of the net neutrality rules, they're not allowed to offer that. But on that side note, is they could just pay for slower internet, get a lower package. Facebook is actually a really well designed site for if you have a shitty connection. It actually loads pretty well no matter what speed you're on.
Yeah, so just get the lower speed internet or a data plan that has lower a lower data cap.
Like the main Google page, there's very little to it just because they want it to load quickly. Just they didn't want that to slow things down.
Yes, and that was at a time when things were slow.
Yeah. It amazes me what we thought was fast 20 years ago compared to now. Like, I don't have the patience to wait for something to load anymore. If it doesn't load, I click off, basically. Yeah.
And the another argument against net neutrality is that, well, the internet wasn't regulated before, so why does it need to be regulated now? That's the argument that I've heard. Which I don't know if I necessarily buy because, well, yeah, it wasn't regulated, but also they're talking about basically rolling it back to the rules that they had before net neutrality, which were from the time when Clinton was president, at a time when speed wasn't really a factor. It didn't matter because everything was slow.
The other thing I'm also going to say is Obama, I mean, while we were in college was really when the internet started. Basically, 97, I'd say from 95 to 2000 was when the internet went from an infancy to a boom. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, well, I think that's when it really blew up, yeah.
And then what happened from 2000 to 2008, like the Bush administration, there really wasn't that much of an advance in internet stuff. What changed when Obama became president was mobility.
I mean, yeah, there's the mobile factor, but I mean, from 2000 to 2008, you saw a much wider availability of broadband and higher speed connections.
True, but there wasn't what changed in the later 2000s to the early the 10s, I guess it's weird to say, is that was when mobility was, and people are always connected now. That's the difference. You are never not connected these days, which is I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
yes, but we're not here to talk about that.
Okay, that's a whole different conversation. We'll save that for the next podcast, and that's why I think it's a bigger issue now because people are connected on their phones, on their work, on their. Think about it from this way: Verizon and Spectrum are huge internet providers, right? In the city for businesses. Businesses use VoIP services. They could throttle those and make that anti-competitive, so you have to use their service, which could be inferior.
Yeah, they could. But also, again, going back to broadband, you go back between 2000 and 2008, people were still on DSL connections. So again,
I mean,
speed wasn't.
true.
There were some people for whom speed wasn't necessarily as much of a factor because everything was just slow for them anyway.
And social media also boomed in the last 10 years. That's the other thing.
Yeah, well, Facebook launched in 2004, so.
Yeah, but Facebook launched for, I think, publicly, not publicly, like for everyone in like 2007, I want to say.
Somewhere thereabouts.
I was the one who showed Marissa Facebook for the first time, and I've regretted it ever since. And we started dating in April of 2007, so she was still on MySpace at that time. And if you remember MySpace
was horrible.
Slow as fuck. The problem was with MySpace is they gave people too much control of their pages, which caused it to slow down. And you didn't have that center. The main two things about Facebook was, one, it was clean, and two, you had that news feed, so you could see what was going on. MySpace, you actually you kind of had to search for everything.
Yeah, and it let people. It basically let people put GeoCities pages on their social media site.
So social GeoCities.
Yeah, that's basically what MySpace was. It was horrible.
Now I think it's kind of become like a music site now.
Yeah, that was kind of what they moved to.
And there was also Friendster, which again wasn't that good.
Oh, Friendster died. Friendster died from MySpace. MySpace killed that.
Yeah. And then Twitter just took the status update and made that everything.
Yeah.
You know what launched Twitter? Do you know how Twitter got used? One of the South by Southwest, they used that to communicate with people, and that's how Twitter took off.
Okay.
Yeah. Learn something new every day. So that's net neutrality, and it's been a little bit exciting in the White House for our president, I would think. I think he's in a really good mood right now.
Yeah, as good a mood as he's ever in.
So, to recap, last Friday, Robert Mueller charged Michael Flynn with lying to the FBI in consideration for his Russian investigation, which was a minor charge as part of a plea deal for Flynn to cooperate with authorities. So, what I've been thinking is the Russia investigation isn't what's going to take Trump down. The covering up of the Russia investigation, if there is anything in Russia, I think what did he tweet right after the Flynn thing? Basically, he
tweeted that he said he fired Flynn because he lied to Pence and he lied to the FBI.
Oh, let's read it. Let's read it in his fall. Where is the tweet? Oh, it gets even crazier than that. Oh, he retweeted Governor Christie.
Okay.
Could grab many people. So, and he does. I had to fire General Flynn because he lied to the vice president and the FBI. He has pled guilty to those lies. It is a shame because his actions during the transition were lawful. There was nothing to hide. How is my Trump?
Yeah, it's bad.
So yeah. So basically, and then his lawyer said he sent that tweet.
Yeah, I know.
So first of all, either the lawyer's covering Trump up, or he has the worst fucking lawyer known to man, because he basically said he knew that he lied to the FBI in January, which means that.
I don't know. I've heard that before, but I don't necessarily buy that he's saying that he knew that he lied to the FBI now, or that he knew that in January that Flynn had lied to the FBI.
I had to fire General Flynn because he lied to the vice president and the FBI. That means he fired him because he lied to those two offices.
But Trump being Trump and just knowing what he does, I don't know. I feel like putting those two things together might be a little bit of a stretch.
And then the next day he starts deflecting thing about Hillary, which nobody gives a shit about anymore.
Yeah, well, that's what he always does. Is Hillary? What about Hillary? Hillary should be in jail.
So yeah, it's gonna get exciting where this is going. I want to know if the way this is probably different from the Watergate stuff is this as stuff happens and you just find out in real time.
Yeah, well, it's the news cycle now versus 40 years ago is very different.
Yeah. I guess they had when Kennedy was shot, they interrupted the news and stuff, and when major news happened, they probably had even when we were growing up, special report. This is Walter Cronkite. Well, I think Walter Cronkite was retired by the time we were alive, but
he retired in the early 80s.
Yeah, so I don't even remember him ever being on TV except being interviewed. Yeah. Isn't he dead?
He's dead now. He died a few years ago, but no, he still did occasional special reports.
Yeah, but I'd say Dan Rather would be probably the closest to Walter Cronkite of a news person from when we were growing up.
Yeah, well, basically for a nice chunk of our lives up till now, it was Dan Rather, Tom Brokaw, and Jennings.
Yeah, isn't Jennings dead?
He might be. I know he had throat cancer or something.
Yeah, but it's just Yeah, so, and then today, I get my phone beeps as soon as shit happens. I'm like, oh, wow.
Jennings died in 2005.
Yeah. Marissa works in broadcast public relations. She's like, I can't get through to news stations because there's so much breaking news now.
Yeah, well,
I don't remember there ever being a breaking news signal.
The biggest thing with Trump is that it's every time he says, "Oh no, we never had any contact with Russia." Well, actually, they kind of did.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh no, we never did this. Oh well, you sort of did. Oh no, we never had this. Oh yeah, you kind of did.
That's why I go back to is I don't think the contact they had with Russia is what's going to take them down. I think it's the covering up of the contact they had with Russia that's going to take them down.
Maybe.
The question is how much is Pence liable?
Who the hell knows? Although I saw something today. I mean, granted, it was not from a super reputable source, but it was something that said that Pence was considering some kind of a coup during the campaign
to run with him and Condoleezza Rice. I saw that.
Oh, it was going to be him and Condoleezza Rice
after the Billy Bush tape.
Yeah.
You know what I watched today that I really recommend everyone watching? Last night, Billy Bush was on Colbert.
Yeah, okay.
And, Billy Bush got fired because of the tape. With everything going on in terms of women right now, Billy Bush should not have been fired. He sat there and listened to someone talk, and he made a couple of jokes, but all in all I don't think he did anything that bad on the tape. Please don't laud me as supporting sex offenders and stuff. I think the stuff that's come out is horrible. I think what Trump said is terrible. I do think Billy Bush got a raw deal in this whole thing. And if you listen to the way he spoke on the Colbert tape, I'll post a link to it on our Facebook page, but you really feel bad for him.
Oh, I'm sure he'll manage just fine.
Yeah. Well, his cousin was president.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think his father and Bush's father are brothers, right?
I have no idea. Don't know, don't care.
I think he's a first cousin of W.
All right. So he's in the nuclear family?
Yeah. There's a great interview Bush did with Jimmy Kimmel a couple of months ago. Watch that also. The thing about Bush versus Trump is I disagreed with a lot of Bush's policy. I disagreed with a lot, the stuff he did with Iraq was not in the right timing. Is the world better off without Saddam Hussein in power? Yes, but there was no reason to go into Iraq at the time. And it turned into ISIS now. Oh. I have to turn off those notifications when we're doing a podcast. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah, anyway, shame on you.
Moving on. Moving on. But Bush was a likable guy. He's really funny. He is what he is. He just was a guy. He was embarrassing in a different way. And, it makes you appreciate him. Granted.
But, hey, he was the president, and you may not have agreed with him or liked him.
But there was some respect for him versus this president, who I feel like...
Somewhat. There wasn't a lot of respect for Bush.
Sure. Okay.
He was pretty much derided as an idiot.
Yeah. But he knew what he was. He didn't... But he also... the thing I'll always say about Bush is that some people disagree with me is he actually surrounded himself with some smart people. Like, his Secretary of State first was Colin Powell. Colin Powell was approved by a voice vote in the Senate. That just means all in favor. Aye. Passed. They didn't have to go to a ballot for like a 51 to 49 to get Betsy DeVos or whatever the fuck her name is. Or, that's it. And DeVos. Rex Tillerson or any of these people. He surrounded himself with decent people. Granted, he also had Karl Rove, who is an idiot, but that's what. Okay,
what's so horrible about Karl Rove?
No, he was just a right-wing nut job. So what else is going on in our world? We'll talk one more politics thing, and then we'll get to pop culture. I promise, folks. So how bad are you going to get screwed from this tax plan?
I have no idea yet, but probably no more, no better or worse than pretty much everybody else.
Well, you can deduct your common charges from a co-op as your taxes, right?
Right now I can. Am I still going to be able to? I don't know.
Who knows?
Oh, not all of the common charges, just the portions that go to property tax.
So, here's the thing that people seem to forget, need to remember. One is, notwithstanding, the United States is currently at what they call full employment. Unemployment is below 6%. Corporations are making record profits. Businesses are booming. Why do they need a tax cut? Trickle down does not work. If you lower taxes, you're just padding rich people's pockets. It's not going to create jobs. They're not going to reinvest back in the company. There was one thing saying, give them a tax cut, but if they don't reinvest, raise it back up. I thought that was good. I thought that was a solid solution. John Oliver actually did a pretty decent thing on this about like tax incentives for movies. It's kind of did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that, or at least part of it.
Did you see the part where he's talking about the companies in Kansas City?
Yes, I saw that part. Yeah.
Basically, is Kansas City, since it's on the border of two states, companies put offices back and forth year after year to keep getting tax breaks because they're creating jobs in the other state, and then they bring them back and forth. Oh, it's hysterical. They're not creating jobs; they're moving jobs.
Yeah. And they're achieving nothing.
And do you know what else would help stimulate the economy, Kevin?
Us getting paid?
Exactly.
Yes. Go to www.audibletrial.com/citizenho and you can sign up for a 30-day trial account and get a free audiobook download.
Free?
Yes, free! There are thousands upon thousands of titles to choose from, such as
Artemis by Andy Weir.
Who?
Narrated by Rosario Dawson. He wrote The Martian.
Okay.
And I'm actually reading this right now. It's actually pretty good.
And I actually know who Rosario Dawson is.
Yeah, she was Becky in Clerks 2.
Yes,
She's
exactly.
never been in any other movie before or after.
No, she has. I just don't recall what.
She's been in lots of things. But anyway, it's basically about a colony on the moon. It's kind of cool. I'm enjoying it. I am not that far into it. But speaking of books, let's do our review of Origin by Dan Brown.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay, so if you've read any Dan Brown book before this, you've pretty much read this book.
Yeah.
Slight twist. We'll try not to spoil it. The person who betrays you is a little less obvious, but once you realize who it is, it's pretty obvious. And I'm
still proud to say that I figured it out before I reached the end of the book.
And I didn't feel the big reveal at the end, like the information they're trying to protect, was as big of a deal as they made it out to be in this big of the book. I felt that was anticlimactic.
A little bit. Well, I think they made it anticlimactic just with the way that with what else went on in the story along with that, along with the reveal and what the character did beforehand. Yeah,
they made it seem. To make a long story short, this guy who basically could be described as like an Elon Musk, basically is about to reveal this thing that basically negates world's religion and when they reveal it, I didn't feel it was as bad as they made to the religious leaders as they made it out to be.
Yeah, but also the religious leaders didn't have the full picture of what he was revealing either. So they thought it.
True.
What they were told seemed a lot worse than what the full story was.
Potentially. But yeah, overall I enjoyed it because Dan Brown books are easy reads and quick reads. But I don't know. He really has a formula. He needs to break that mold.
No, but you know what? It works for him. And like you said, they're enjoyable, easy reads. What else does she need?
True. So, see any movies lately?
No.
I've seen 3.
Okay.
The first one was Thor Ragnarok, which it was a lot of fun. It really was a really good, fun movie. It surpassed the first 2 Thors significantly. And it's probably one of the best movies of the Marvel Universe.
Okay.
Then I saw, because I dragged Marissa to that, she made me go see A Bad Mom's Christmas with her.
Was that even remotely good?
It had its moments. It wasn't as good as the first one. Plus, I got to look at Mila Kunis for like 2 hours and Kristen Bell. Then we told my mom to see it. That was probably not a smart move.
Okay.
And then after that, I saw Justice League.
How was Justice League? Because I've heard mixed things about that one.
Okay. Is it a perfect movie? By no means. It's a product. It's a mishmash of 2 different visions, which I think hurt it. But at the end of the day, I got to sit in a theater and see the Super Friends up on big screen in live action. That's what made it good.
Fair enough.
I enjoyed it. Will I say I liked it better than Batman Superman? I liked it better than Suicide Squad. It had some flaws in it, but it was just there was nothing complex about it. It was just a pretty straightforward linear movie. But overall, there's some things that got cut out of it that I think would have made it better. What happened, if you don't know the story with Justice League, is it was originally supposed to be the 3rd movie in the DC universe directed by Zack Snyder. Before they were about to do reshoots, Zack Snyder backed out of the project due to the suicide of his daughter. So Joss Whedon, who, Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the Avengers, stepped in to finish the movie. He did a bunch of reshoots and did an edit of the movie. Then apparently Warner Brothers did a further edit after Whedon gave it to it and cut out another half hour of the movie. And people feel Warner Brothers destroyed the movie.
Yeah, it sounds like they very well could have.
Yeah. The thing that goes on in the movies is the Marvel Universe has this guy, Kevin Feige, who's he doesn't direct, he's the producer, and he's kind of like the architect, weaving the webs of the universe. That was supposed to be Jeff Johns at DC, but I don't know if he's doing that. And if he is the right guy to do it, he's amazing. Did you see the crossover event they did on The Flash and Supergirl and all that last week?
I saw some of the Supergirl episode. I haven't gotten a chance to finish it.
You have to watch all 4. It's
okay.
It's a 4-hour episode. That was the best Justice League movie. That was the best Justice League movie I've seen all year. That was better than any Marvel movie too. They did such a good job on that.
Yeah, I'm behind in my Supergirl viewing. What can I say?
Slacker.
Yeah.
Did you see the one with where they portrayed them as young girls when they went back home after she broke up with her?
Yes, I did see
I
that.
Was an excellent. I thought that was a really good episode.
That one was good. I think I watched that twice.
Oh, why did you watch it once and then Melissa wanted to watch it?
No, I just felt like watching it again. I think I wanted to watch some of it again to see if there was stuff that I had missed the first time I watched it.
There were a couple of little interesting side notes they did in there. They kept saying, "Well, Chloe did this for us. Chloe did that for us." Chloe Sullivan was a big character in Smallville.
Right. Okay.
And then when John pretended to be her mother, she said she's FBI agent Noelle Neal. Do you know who Noelle Neal is?
No.
She played Lois Lane in the George Reeves Superman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I like when they do some Easter eggs like that. Like in Justice League, Mark McClure played a prison guard. He also played Jimmy Olsen in the Christopher Reeves Superman.
Isn't he a little old to be a prison guard then?
Does it matter?
Yes. An old prison guard. Don't make no sense.
Yeah, you're old.
Well, yes, but I don't deny it.
Report. Anti-Trump... I can't read his Twitter feed. It's like reading a nonsense.
Oh, what now?
Do you think he's gonna... Nah, it's just old stuff. Do you think he's gonna make it 4 years? I know we said we no more politics. Just...
I can see him potentially making 4 years just because shit just seems to roll off him all the time. But it ain't gonna be easy if he does. And I could just as easily see something derailing him. And he'll
resign before he gets...
That's the thing. I don't know if he can take all of this.
He may get impeached, but he'll resign before he gets convicted. But also, I don't think anything's going to happen before November of next year, or January the following year, I should say. If that's for the chance of Congress to flip.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
The Republicans abandoned Nixon, so you never know.
Yeah, well, that was 40 years ago.
It's amazing how ineffective our government is right now.
And it's been ineffective for quite some time.
They only vote on party lines. They will not work across the aisle. We need a president that's going to come in and say, okay, I'm going to force bipartisanship. If you guys send a bill, if it's not bipartisan support, I am not signing it.
Yeah, but nobody's going to do that.
It's the problem. But that's what we need.
Nobody's going to do that, and I mean, the thing is that there are things that go through, but it's like it's all minor stuff that nobody gives a shit about.
Yeah, like the thing about the Russia sanctions.
Yeah, little
that
stuff.
I think all 100 senators voted for it or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And they use loopholes to get around. Like they shouldn't have been able to do the tax bill, but because it was done under budget reconciliation, they were able to get it through without a filibuster.
Yeah, that stuff just gives me a headache.
Well, this is the one thing that I love. So they were able to filibuster a Supreme Court nominee, but they weren't able to filibuster the motion to end the filibuster.
Amazing.
So you needed 51 votes to take away the right to have 60 votes.
See, this is why I get headaches.
I think time travel is easier to understand than this stuff.
Yeah, in some cases.
That's one of the things about Future Man. They're also bad at time travel. They're like, it's time travel 101. You don't do this. Blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
All right. Now to something lighthearted. Bad movies.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Make all of our lives easier. Doot.
Yeah.
So, all right. First up for this week, we have Dust to Glory. Showcases the 2016 SCORE World Desert Championship racing season, including the epic SCORE Baja 1000, the world's toughest point-to-point desert race across a 1,000-mile course in Mexico's untamable Baja California Peninsula. It's a documentary.
1 day only. So it's 1 day only. It's probably one of those Fathom event things.
Probably.
I don't think it'll be reviewed, but I'll give it fresh anyway.
Yeah, it's documentary cred.
Bullet Head. After Adrian Brody, John Malkovich, Antonio Banderas. After pulling off the heist of a lifetime, 3 career criminals find themselves trapped in a warehouse with the law closing in. But inside the warehouse, a more dangerous threat awaits the fugitives. A more dangerous threat awaits the fugitives. Are plunged into a furious... Wait, what? Okay, I got it. A more dangerous threat awaits as the fugitives are plunged.
You just figured that out?
For their life. I thought it was a typo of the word awaits, not missing the space.
I don't know. That sounds kind of stupid.
Yeah. There was also a movie called Bullet to the Head a couple years ago.
Yeah, all right. Anyway. Rotten on that. All right, next we have I, Tonya, starring Margot Robbie, Allison Janney, and Sebastian Stan. Based on unbelievable but true events, I, Tonya is the tale of American figure skater Tonya Harding and one of the most sensational scandals in sports history. Though Harding was the first American woman to complete a triple axel in competition, her legacy has forever been defined by her association with an infamous, ill-conceived, and worse-executed attack on fellow Olympic competitor Nancy Kerrigan.
I think that sounds kind of interesting.
I think this might be fresh. Plus, we both remember when this actually happened.
It was at 94. Was that Lillehammer?
96. I think it was.
No, 96 was Summer Olympics.
Oh yeah, duh. So yeah, it would have been 94.
Just getting started. Morgan Freeman, Tommy Lee Jones, René Rousseau. Morgan Freeman stars as Duke Diver, the freewheeling manager of the luxury Palm Springs resorts, the Villa Capri. Diver may have a mysterious past, but he's a pro at making sure that life for the high-spirited residents is one big non-stop party. But the status quo is challenged when ex-military charmer Leo, Tommy Lee Jones, checks in, triggering a competition between Duke and Leo for the top spot of alpha male, as well as the affections of the newly arrived Susie, René Rousseau. When
you
Duke's
realize she's American, right?
Yeah, I know. When Duke's past suddenly catches up with him, the rivals put aside their differences and the two men reluctantly team up to stop whoever is trying to kill Duke and also save the Villa Capri. I like this the first time when it's called Police Academy 5, Assignment Miami Beach.
Well, not quite, but...
I'm going Rodden.
Yeah, I just don't see this being good.
Yeah.
All right. November Criminals, starring Chloe Moretz, Ansel Elgort, and Catherine Keener. A pair of college-bound friends, Chloe Grace Moretz and Ansel Elgort, find themselves falling for one another.
Ansel?
No, Ansel.
I know.
Find themselves falling for one another. But after the mysterious murder of their classmate, they defy the authorities to uncover the truth. Shouldn't this have come out around Halloween?
This is Halloween.
The fact that it didn't. Rotten.
Yeah. The Disaster Artist, James Franco, Dave Franco, Seth Rogen. This is a true story about the making of The Room, the cult classic described as the Citizen Kane of bad movies.
Okay,
the masterpiece is a buddy comedy about two outsiders chasing a dream. When the world rejects them, they decide to make their own movie. So a buddy of mine is a film professor. I asked him about The Room. He said, it's so bad, it's good. It's like, it's funny because it's not they made it a drama that came out as funny.
Okay, then.
This movie is getting great, Oscar buzz and stuff. I know it's James Franco and it, violates every part of my body to say this, but I gotta go fresh on this.
Okay, based on that information, I will go fresh as well. I wasn't
this
going
is getting
to.
This is getting Oscar buzz.
Okay, then. Now we have The Pirates of Somalia, starring Evan Peters, Barkhad Abdi, and Melanie Griffith. Follows rookie journalist Bahadur Evan Peters, who, after having a chance encounter with an experienced war correspondent, Pacino, uproots his life and moves to Somalia looking for the story of a lifetime. Hooking up with a local fixer, Abdi, Bahadur attempts to embed himself with the local Somali pirates, getting in way over his head.
Evan Peters is like the whitest guy alive.
Okay.
He played Quicksilver in the X-Men movies.
Oh.
I don't know. Pacino and Griffith. Could they save this?
I don't know.
I'm gonna go fresh on their credits.
I'm gonna go rotten just because. And hey, it's good for us to not agree every once in a while.
Yeah. The Shape of Water, Octavia Spencer, Sally Hawkins, Michael Stuhlbarg,
I think.
Stuhlbarg.
He was in Boardwalk Empire. I forget which role he had, but
I only watched the first half the first season and never finished the show.
It got better after that.
Yeah. An otherworldly fairy tale set against the backdrop of the Cold War era America circa 1963. In the hidden high-security government laboratory where she works, lonely Elisa Hawkins is trapped in a life of science and isolation. Her life is changed forever when she and coworker Zelda Spencer discover a secret classified experiment. Octavia Spencer's a really good actress,
Yes.
but I don't know about this.
See, I agree.
I'm gonna go Rodden.
Then I'm going to go fresh. Octavia Spencer cred, even though I think I got burned on that once before, but hey.
Okay, let's see. View all. Just Getting Started isn't rated. I, Tanya, 88%.
Which one?
November Criminal, the Tanya Harding movie.
Oh, 88%? Okay.
Yeah, so that's fresh. November Criminals, no reviews. What else we got? Dust to Glory, is that in here? Nope. Bullethead, no reviews. Disaster. I have to look these things up. The Disaster Artist. 94%. And it's starring James Franco.
Wow. Amazing.
The Pirates of Somalia. Barely Rotten, 57%. Kevin gets the square.
Woohoo!
And The Shape of Water.
Come on, barely fresh.
It's not barely fresh. It's fully fresh, 95%.
Woohoo! Octavia Spencer gets the square.
She's a really good actress.
She is.
Did you see what was the movie I just saw with her in it? Hidden Figures?
Yes. That is quite good.
Well, it is a very good movie, and I'm also a big fan of the space program, so I always like stuff like that.
I figured that would interest you.
No, you're breaking up a little bit.
Okay. Well, you've been breaking up on and off throughout the podcast. What can I tell you?
I blame you.
Fine.
All right, so we'll try to record this weekend, and we'll try to get into more secular thing. If Kevin can start drugging his son to go to bed earlier.
Good luck with that. It'd also be nice if he didn't wake up at 5:30 in the morning today, but...
Why did he wake up at 5:30 in the morning?
I have no idea, but he was awake. And he wasn't going back to sleep.
So what'd you do? Put on the TV?
Yeah, basically. I take him out to the living room, and he asked for Paw Patrol or whatever to watch, and then I just put it on and hope that maybe he goes back to sleep then. But usually he doesn't.
Did you fall back to sleep?
I nodded off a couple times.
Does he wake you up when you fall asleep?
Sometimes. One time he slapped me when I fell asleep. Daddy, wake up! Bam!
How have you not told me about this yet?
It was a long time ago, too.
I owe Max $1. There's one time when my nephew was really young and my sister was over. And my sister's borderline narcoleptic. She just closes her eyes and is out cold. So she was on the couch, passed out. He looks around and goes, shh, shh, shh. 1, 2, 3. And then screamed out, "Mommy," as loud as he could. And he did it like 12 times in a row.
Did she actually wake up?
Yeah, she's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Then fall right back to sleep. Like, she literally closes her eyes and goes to sleep. I wish I could do that.
Yeah, me too.
Sunday into Monday, I think I was up the entire night Monday, the other night.
Why?
I was uncomfortable in a private area.
Okay, then.
Enough said?
Yes. I already know too much about this.
Yeah. Then I go to my doctor, and she goes, "How do you feel now?" My response was, "Violated." She apologized profusely. She has a great sense of humor for what she does, though.
I think you have to have a great sense of humor for that.
She wouldn't tell me what the craziest thing she's removed from somebody yet was, but I asked her if it was a fidget spinner, and she said no. Then she goes, "But they have fidget spinner butt plugs."
Okay, then.
I told you she has a good sense of humor.
Ask her if it was a gerbil.
She doesn't do Richard Gere.
Apparently, neither does the gerbil.
He's got to be, old now.
Yeah, he's getting there.
So, how was your Thanksgiving, by the way?
Meat-erific.
Smoked meat.
Oh, yeah.
I actually kind of like it because my entire family's in Florida, so it's hard for me sometimes. But like, we go to my wife's cousin. There's a lot of people there, which makes me enjoy the holiday a lot more because it was just me and my in-laws.
You'd want to kill
maybe committed
somebody?
For homicide. Yeah, probably. But next year we'll be in Florida for Thanksgiving.
Ooh, fun.
We got to bat mitzvah down there the weekend before, so we're just going to stay through.
Fair enough.
Are you going down?
We're going to probably go down. I don't know what the game plan is exactly.
Gotcha. Yeah, we were talking about going down for my dad's birthday, but his birthday is Easter weekend. It's also the first weekend of Passover. And to go down for a long weekend for the two of us was like $1,000.
Ah, yeah.
I go, Dad, I love you, but I don't love you that much. I ordered him his Hanukkah gift finally. I finally thought of something that wasn't that expensive.
What?
Well, for those of you who don't know, my dad is a gadget guy, so we always try to get him like stuff. Most of it we try to annoy my mom. Like we got him a Google Home last year, but I got him a wireless charger for his cell phone, one of the key chargers, because my dad has he had spinal stenosis, so he has some nerve damage, and his hands aren't as very articulate anymore. So he could just lie his phone down now to charge it. I thought it was a good gift.
Yeah, that works.
Nope.
But that's not something that's going to annoy your mother very much.
Yeah, but he'll make it annoying to her. He finds ways to do that. So for that, I'm proud of him.
Okay,
and I've inherited that from him. Like the second something comes, Marissa gets annoyed because I have to open it and play with it immediately. I know you get like that too with stuff.
Yeah. And usually my wife ends up, usually my wife and I end up having the same conversation surrounding that. Do you have to do this now? Like, yes. Have you met me?
I think I need to get a new wireless router, though. For some reason, my phone will just disconnect and won't reconnect until I reboot the router, and then it'll be fine for a couple of days. I think I'm using the bill. I think I'm going to go to Google Wi-Fi.
Okay. The real question is, why is that happening?
I don't know. I think because I've added a bunch of devices recently. Ooh, and I like my Surface. You should get one.
Yeah, we can look into that in the future, maybe.
Yeah. I got the lower end Surface Pro because it's not my primary computer and I have a pretty good one. I just wanted something light and portable. And with this Black Friday deal, it was like $630 with a keyboard.
Okay.
Which would normally be like $1,000.
Huzzah.
And then for Hanukkah, my parents got me the Arc mouse. It's kind of cool. It's this flat thing. You bend it, and then it works as a mouse.
Nifty.
Yeah, and hopefully my in-laws will get me the pen. Oh, and then we'll leave you on this thought, and then we'll clean up. I finally beat my nephew in a bet.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Congratulations.
I was so happy. But then I found out...
You finally beat a 13-year-old.
He's 14 and a half. Shut up.
Oh, excuse me. 14-and-a-half-year-old.
But now I found out he doesn't have the funds to pay me, so we have to come up with an alternate arrangement.
Okay, that just completely broke up.
I said he doesn't have the funds to pay me.
Tell him to go raid his father's sock drawer or something. I don't know.
I told him to borrow from his sister. I'll bug him this weekend about it.
Okay.
All right. And on that note, you can download us on Google Play Music, iTunes, and Stitcher. Like us, review us, rate us, suck our dicks, whatever you can do on there. Just do it. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/CitizenHo. Tweet us at CitizenHoPod. Instagram at CitizenHoPod. I'm Scott.
I'm Kevin.
Be excellent to each other.
Bye-bye.
Station!